A quick update on Kraken Robotics. I'm on my way to lunch now, so I'll just shoot and walk at the same time. So Kraken Robotics is down about 40% off its high this year. So it's a really interesting place right now. So I still have a mid-sized position in Kraken Robotics. There's Canadian shares and US shares, but I started buying when the US shares were under $1. It shot up to $8, and now it's like $4.50 right now, or 480, something like that. So I did trim along the way, which some people said in the comments was a mistake. But by doing that, I was able to lock in some gains. So I got back my initial investment 2 or 3 times, and I still have a position in Kraken Robotics. Whereas if I just held and never sold, it might have done better, but it could have corrected, and then I would have lost the whole thing, right? So it was just a mental thing, not a mathematical thing. There's a famous investor who passed away, Peter Cundill, and he is one of the people who Warren Buffett had said could take over for him if he dies. And one of the things Peter Cundill would do is whenever he owned a stock and it doubled, any stock, he would just sell half and then keep the rest. And why is that? Because mentally, he got back his original money, so he can be unemotional about the gains because it was house money. So mathematically, it might not be the best thing, but whatever helps you execute your strategy emotionally, which is the difficult part, that's what you should do. So another famous investor named Peter Lynch said that, if you can add 8 and 8 and get to a number that's close to 16, you know enough math to be a great investor. But the hard part about investing isn't the mind, it's the stomach. And, it's an emotional ride. So back to Kraken Robotics. Why has it come back down? Well, they announced that they were buying a much larger company, and it would triple the size of Kraken Robotics in terms of revenue. However, in order to achieve that, they sold stock to a group of private investors. I wish they would have let existing retail investors like us invest in it, but they didn't. They sold to friends of the underwriter, and that diluted shareholders. They borrowed money, and they're also going to have to pay another US $100 million to this British company, Coalia, I forget how it's pronounced. So if it's tripling in size, why did the market react badly to that? Well, there's good things about it. If it's a larger competitor, it can bid on military contracts, not only in the US and Canada and Great Britain, but other countries as the main competitor and not just a supplier, a subcontractor to other big defense companies. So that's it should give them the size to do that. And as a larger company, it would be easier for them to uplist from the TSX Venture Exchange to the regular TSX Exchange, which would give it more liquidity and make it more available for funds to invest in it that have restrictions on which companies they can invest in. Many of them can't invest in these venture companies, but can invest in companies on the big board. So that should help them. However, that 400 something million dollar dilution, I think it's like 300 million US, and there's another dilution coming down the pipe, which is sort of an interesting thing. They have to give the company they're acquiring $100 million worth of Kraken shares. So it's not a set number, but $100 million US worth of shares when the deal closes. So the deal just received regulatory approval, and then the stock started coming back because shareholders knew that dilution was coming down the pike. But the $100 million is very interesting because if the stock was still trading at $8 US, the stock is more expensive. So you might think, oh, well, I'll buy the stock when it's cheaper. I don't want to buy it when it's expensive. But if it's expensive, $100 million of an expensive stock is not that difficult, right? You can just print more shares and go on about your life. But if this price drops from 8 to 450, instead of 100 million, you have to give them like 190 million, right? So it's a lot bigger number. So because the dilution is greater, that drops the stock price down. Well, now the stock's even cheaper. Now you have to give even more shares, right? So if it drops to $4 or $3.50, you have to give them even more shares, which means you have to dilute more, which probably will drive the stock price lower, right? So that's the concern. And if this was a company with 0 profit, 0 revenues, I might be worried. But this is a company that's profitable. They are growing revenue 35% year over year, and they are acquiring a company that will triple their size, allow them to compete on bigger contracts, and be the main bidder on many of these military contracts instead of being a subcontractor or supplier, which should give them better profit margins, right? And as a reminder, they have this best-in-class subsea battery. So other batteries for drones underwater, in order to compensate for the immense pressure under the sea, they encase their batteries in titanium, which takes up space that could be used for the battery. But Kraken Robotics has a process where they encase it in gel, and if you know anything about cars and hydraulics, gels don't compress, and so the immense pressure of the deep sea doesn't affect the battery. So instead of wrapping it in titanium, they can just put more battery there, and it will give you longer time under the water for these subsea drones, imaging devices, things like that to operate, right? The problem is the process is not patented, but there's no one else doing it, so it's a very difficult process, right? So there are, for instance, only a handful of companies that make computer chips, and they're very profitable right now because of the demand from AI. So why don't more companies make computer chips if it's so profitable? It's not a patented process, but it's very difficult to do. So even though that there's no patent, that's what keeps people out. It's just incredibly difficult to do. And from what I've seen with this battery tech, even though it is a better battery and Kraken Robotics can charge more money, the reason other people don't make the same thing is it's very difficult to do. So that's their moat, right? They also do have patents on their imaging technology, that best-in-class imaging for subsea devices. And that besides military applications, it's great for oil and gas development. And now that there's more fighting in the Middle East, the price of oil shot up. So that made future oil projects appear more attractive. And now that there's talk of peace with Iran, that could be one of the things driving the price down. But long term, I'm not concerned about Kraken Robotics because it's so well run. They have such a great product, and the runway for sea drones is so big. So most companies that do air drones, especially if they have the word drone in it, are incredibly overpriced, right? And there's a question whether they'll even be useful because large, expensive drones like the Reaper are not what's being used by the Ukrainians and Iranians very effectively. They're these small, cheap drones that are 1/100th of the price of the big drones, right? But they just buy swarms of them and throw them at people. However, as we saw in the fight in Ukraine, the sea drones were very effective and very hard to stop. And if you want to have air drones, you have to be a certain distance from your opponent. And if you're out in the sea, that's very visible. But if you can have these long-lasting batteries with sea drones, that makes it that much more effective, right? So I still have the mid-size position, which has come down 40%, and I'm not concerned about it. And today, I started buying shares again. So I trimmed before when it got to $7 or $8 and got back, my original investment, and I kept a mid-size position to see what happens, and it's come down 40%. So when it came down 10, 20, 30%, I was like, I'm not going to sell, but I will keep watching. And I think it's cheap enough now that I'm starting to buy again. So today I made my first purchase. And the good news is that when I used to buy this before, when I first started buying it, was below $1. The only one of my brokers that carried it was Schwab, and I had to make big purchases because they would charge me $5 for every trade, whether I buy or sell. And so I was only using Schwab, which the margin in Schwab is very expensive. They charge me over 11%. But then Merrill Lynch started carrying it, and I was able to trade it commission-free, so I started doing that. And then now Robinhood has started carrying it. So good news, I can trade it on Robinhood, pay no fees, and also get a lower margin rate. Interactive Brokers also has it, by the way. Big ups to Interactive Brokers, and I'll put a link in the comments if you want to sign up with Interactive Brokers. especially if you want to do the, if you're interested in that strategy with Nintendo, where I mentioned I'm going to borrow Japanese yen at 1.5% and buy Nintendo shares at 3%. Right, so that strategy with Nintendo would work because of the rate that they let you borrow Japanese yen in. So instead of paying 6% margin at Robinhood or 12% margin at Charles Schwab to buy more shares of Nintendo, I can buy, instead of buying shares on the US exchange, I can just borrow Japanese yen, pay 1.5% dividend, and use that 1.5% borrowed money to buy shares of Nintendo, which pay a 3% dividend. And because both the assets are denominated in yen, it's a pretty safe bet for me. So hedge funds used to do something called a carry trade, where because it was so cheap to borrow Japanese yen, it was less than 1% at the time, they would borrow money in yen, and they would use that money to buy US treasuries, which were paying 2 or 3%, and they would call that the carry trade. Unfortunately, that was kind of profitable, but it exposes you to the risk of price movement between the dollar and the yen. And when they were fairly stable, it was a nice trade, but it can go against you. But with this one, I'm not borrowing yen and buying U.S. denominated assets. I'm borrowing yen and buying yen denominated assets. So whether the price moves up or down nominally, I won't be forced to sell. I won't have a margin call, right? I will just have those shares. So anyway, I don't want this to be a video about Nintendo, but I will say that if you're buying foreign shares like Nintendo, sometimes you can get a better deal through someone like Interactive Brokers and buying the foreign listed shares on the foreign exchange, which they support, instead of using traditional brokers like Robinhood, which only allow you to buy US shares or foreign listed shares that are traded on US exchanges. Yeah, I've done really well in Kraken Robotics. As I said, I've gotten back my original investment when I trimmed. I still have a good sized position that I'm up several 100% in. And now it's gotten cheap enough that I am starting to buy again. So made a small purchase today. I don't know if Kraken will keep going down, or I'm very bad at bottom ticking stocks. So if it does keep going down, I plan on just buying a little bit more at a time as I go, and eventually I will bottom ticket because I do think it will come back because it's got a very long runway and a very profitable and promising industry. So I do think stocks go through fads, and there was a while when defense stocks were really hot and Kraken did really well. And now that sentiment has cooled and Kraken is coming down, and people are pumping up the price of AI stocks and chip stocks. And when oil shot up to $100 a barrel, people were buying oil stocks, but it's too late because the price has already run up. And now that it's coming down again, they're selling oil and buying whatever the next hot thing is. But if you don't think about week to week or quarter to quarter, and you think about year to year and the trends that should continue, drone warfare is not going anywhere. It seems to be getting more sophisticated, and it's shown to be very effective with the sky drone. So the areas that are vulnerable to attack by sea are numerous, and places like Taiwan are in threat from China. In the Strait of Hormuz, all these ships are threatened by Iran. And so I think increasingly sea drones will be a bigger and bigger part of warfare going forward. And as those supply routes like the Strait of Hormuz become more and more dangerous to navigate, it will increase the odds that people will use offshore drilling in places like Africa and Latin America, where new deposits are being discovered, and that should help companies like Kraken that have underwater imaging that benefits the oil and gas industry. So that's my thought on that. As I said, buying little at a time. First purchase was today. I think if today is the lowest that it goes, and I bought a little today and it goes up, that's fine. I still have a lot of it. a mid-sized position. If it keeps going lower, I can just buy a little more each day and then see where that goes. Because it's pretty difficult to find companies that are growing revenue 35% year over year. And when a company like that buys another company that puts it in a better competitive position to get even more government contracts for defense, I think that's a good setup. So I'd be really happy if they weren't issuing shares to do this, or if we as individual shareholders got a chance to participate. But at this price and with this future, I feel okay starting to build position again. So this isn't investment advice. This is just me walking through my process. So don't buy or sell anything based on anything somebody says, especially me. Do your own research. I'm just walking through my process and what I see. And I don't mind telling you when I buy things or when I sell things, because me walking through my process helps me clarify my thoughts and keeps me from falling victim to thesis drift. So besides a small ad to Kraken today, things I'm still buying little by little, Nintendo and Coupang, both of which I've done videos on, and buying a little bit of Badger Meter, which I've also done a video on. And I just started new positions, very small positions, but building slowly in PayPal, which I used to own, but I sold. I'll do a video on that later. 10 Cent Music, not Tencent, the company 10 Cent Music Group. It's kind of like the Spotify of China, and I'll do a video on that soon. So let me know if you have any questions on this. Leave them in the comments, and like and subscribe so you'll see future videos like this that'll help the algorithm. Have a great day, everyone.